Nowadays, phones are bigger and more expensive than ever, and despite the fact that I'm very much a choose one and stick to it kind of guy, I do often find myself falling victim to this bigger and more expensive tailspin that the phone industry's in. So, I decided to spend a week with the original SE. If you've been around for a while, then you may remember when I did a similar video with the 6S at the start of the year, and I managed it pretty well. Other than the battery life, it was a very manageable experience. Given the similarity in specs and release, the SE should be fairly similar, right? In terms of performance, sure. However, I haven't used a phone this small since 2017, so definitely at first, this could be a little bit tricky. So, I wanted to document this experience, and in the process, see if the original iPhone SE could be used as a daily driver phone in 2020. First things first, as this is going to be my phone for the next week, I need to set it up to work for me. I installed all my necessary apps like Twitter and YouTube, synced on my iCloud settings so I could have access to my notes for these videos, and make sure that Apple Music was properly set up, because you gotta have some tunes. After this, I chose a wallpaper I liked, put it in my pocket, and got on with the first day. This day, to be precise. Today, I actually have a video to shoot. It's currently pretty late as it is, and I have a voiceover to do, which I usually use my phone for as a teleprompter. So guess we're going with the 4-inch screen of the iPhone SE. The smaller screen definitely took some getting used to when I was reading my script, as my voiceover booth is pretty dark as it is, and the small screen didn't really help this. Nevertheless, I got through it fine, but it wasn't ideal. Okay, so I decided against showing you the inside of my voiceover booth. It's not exactly great for the camera. Anyway, got the voiceover done, sounded really nice, and yeah, while it was a little bit smaller than usual, wasn't too bad, and if that's the worst thing that happens on this challenge, this is gonna be pretty easy. Alright, so, time to relax. In the evening, I often like to catch up with my friends, and this is where I found a second thing that I was gonna need to adjust to. Typing on a keyboard this small when I'm used to something much bigger was actually pretty tricky at first. However, it seems that the usually unused swipe keyboard actually came in handy for me here, and it made adjusting to the smaller screen size pretty doable. After this, I went ahead and watched some videos, which, to be honest, was totally fine. While watching videos on a bigger screen is definitely preferred, I could still see everything totally fine, and I actually found the experience to be quite pleasant. So yeah, wrapping up day one, well, there were definitely some things I was going to have to adjust to over the next week. My first day with fairly light usage was actually pretty pleasant. On the second day, I thought things would be different, and I'd be adjusting to the phone much more. However, I was wrong. Alright, so, how's it going, guys? Day 2. And so far today, I've been noticing that I've been using my phone a lot less. It is only 11 AM on the second day, but by this point, I honestly thought I'd be more used to it than I am. Honestly, I think it's the smaller screen. I find myself reaching for it a lot less whenever I want some quick entertainment. So yeah, so far, coming from my iPhone 10, which is effectively almost 2 inches bigger, for entertainment, not so great so far. Hopefully though, as the week progresses, I do get used to it. But yeah, bit of a learning curve so far. Today, I'm not using the phone for anything all that important. However, this will be a good opportunity for me to really get to grips with the phone and see how it handles media consumption and things like that. So yeah, on with the second day. I also noticed that the battery life was a little bit of an issue, nowhere near to the extent that the 6S was. However, towards the end of the day, I was still having to put it in power saver mode. This isn't a brand new phone, so it isn't going to hold its charge all that well. And this is even compared to my iPhone 10, which did also have some battery issues. So I finished the day still not quite comfortable with the phone yet, hoping the next day will be better. Right, so we're on the third day now, and gotta say, this morning, I feel a lot more positive about it. I've gotten more accustomed to typing on this smaller screen, and I can actually get everything done that I need to. So yeah, pretty positive about today. Gotta say, the Touch ID and that physical home button, really nice blast from the past. Also, the circular volume buttons, the up top lock button. I'm actually a really big fan of this body style. Today, I actually want to try taking some photos with this thing because, as I said before, I have kind of been a little bit spoiled by all the new technology. So I think this will be a fun little challenge, and it shouldn't be too difficult because we are in a really nice location today. So yeah, hopefully we can get some really nice photos. The screen's kind of dark, so it is a little difficult for me to capture these moments. Maybe if I massively overexpose it. No, that looks bad. Yeah, exposure's a little difficult because the screen isn't all that bright, but the photos are looking pretty good so far. Alright, so I'm back home now. Honestly, today we got some really good photos with these. I'll check some of them on the screen now, but I got quite a few that I actually really liked. And obviously things like the dynamic range and the saturation, they're not going to be as good on this as they are on my newer phones. However, it was definitely usable for some casual photos. And yeah, at times today, well, I definitely would have liked a second focal length. It was definitely manageable and I didn't feel limited. Now,
obviously I also did have this camera with me. However, I had enough confidence in the shots to not retake any of them with this camera. So yeah, overall, pretty impressed. Also, today has been like a super long day, and I didn't have to turn on the low power mode till like 5 o'clock. So compared to when I did this challenge with the 6S at the start of the year, definite improvement on the battery life front.
I finished the third day content with the phone, finally feeling like I was over that adjustment period, and while typing still did present a challenge, it was much easier at this point. On day 4, 5, and 6, I didn't really film all that much. When I woke up on day 4, I picked up the SE, and I was completely used to it. I went about my day not at all struggling with the phone, and this was the same for both day 5 and 6. Pretty much answering the challenge right there. However, I did still want to see it through the full 7 days, and on the last day, my opinions on this phone were set.
Alright, how's it going, guys? Today is actually the last day. I haven't really been doing all that much filming of this challenge over the last few days because I don't really need to. By day 4, I was very much used to the SE. I have just opened up the camera. I do still occasionally slip when I go to type, especially first thing in the morning. However, for the most part, I'm completely used to it. Am I switching to it? No, obviously not. And I'm definitely looking forward to going back to using a bigger screen and a more modern design. However, I do think I'd be able to stick with the SE just fine. Alright, so, do I recommend that you go out and buy the iPhone SE in 2020? Unless you're talking about the 2020 SE, no, I don't. Realistically, it is getting on now. I really don't know how much more support it's gonna get. So to go out and spend a load of money on it for it not to get supported after a little while wouldn't be the best idea. If you already own one, or want to see if you need to upgrade, I don't think you do. As long as your battery life is properly in check and you don't want to try out any of the new features, until this thing becomes obsolete with software, I really don't think you do need to upgrade, especially if you prefer that smaller screen, because I know a lot of people do. I was totally able to use this thing for a week, and while I did get off to a rocky start, especially with that screen size, I was not used to it at all. I was able to go from my fairly modern iPhone 10 to using the SE for all my daily tasks without any issue, despite some initial discomfort. So yeah, honestly, I know while it is slightly newer, I'm actually more impressed with how this is held up versus the 6S. With the 6S, as I said in that video, I was very much looking forward to going back to using my iPhone 10 after that challenge. However, with this, I could totally stay on it for another week. A big issue with the 6S was, of course, the battery life, and with this, as you can see, it's currently 401, and battery's doing just fine. So, while it's not the latest and greatest, I was able to quite comfortably use this throughout the week. So yeah, honestly, I think that's pretty amazing how well that's held up. I've had a lot of fun with this challenge. I am looking forward to going back to my iPhone 10 though. Let me know, by the way, if you want to see me do this 1 week with a phone challenge with any other phones. I always do like reading your suggestions in the comments. But as for now, as always, thank you for watching. Remember to like the video if you want to see more content like this, then smash that subscribe button. I'm done for now, and I'll see you guys in the next one.